All right, we are live. Hey, what up, YouTube? I am back. I am starting something new this year, and actually, instead of doing pre-recorded videos, I am coming live with my breakdowns. And tonight, I have a special guest from Blogging the Boys, Tony. Catalina.
How you doing, man?
So, hey, so we're gonna get into this Bucs game, week 1. How do you feel about it before we start the breakdown?
Man, I tell you what, me and you were kind of chopping it up before we went live about it, and nobody expects us to win. Like you said, we're playing with a little house money here, so Zach Martin, he's more than likely not going to go, and it's exciting to kind of see what Dak Prescott can do with no preseason snaps and coming off the injury. So hey, let's go out there and just play some football, man. I'm ready to see it. I'm ready to see him tee it off. But nobody's giving us the chance here, and I love that type of underdog mentality. So we'll see what's going to happen here.
Yeah. They actually said earlier Zach Martin isn't playing,
right?
So it's a full go. He's not going, which honestly actually wasn't holding my breath on him playing tomorrow. But either way, I just think I've watched enough Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharps and Stephen A. Smiths today to just boil my blood, and even Dan Orlovsky's and all them. The Cowboys are getting blown out. I'm like, okay.
Man.
I like
fuel the fire. Yeah, fuel the fire a little bit.
I'm like, I really like that.
Fuel the fire. Yeah, fuel the fire a little bit. I'm like, I really like that.
So we could get into the breakdown. I am going to start with special teams first. For me, I am looking at it as neither team really has a great returner. I am looking at Tony Pollard, probably the best returner on both teams. I am really hoping they don't keep CeeDee Lamb as the primary punt returner for obvious reasons, but I don't actually like the way our special teams look towards the end of the season. I am guessing Bones Fossil is definitely going to try to pull out a trick week 1. This isn't really the Patriots, so I'm not looking at the Bucs as having that high IQ of sniffing it out, sort of like Bill Belichick was like, oh yeah, they are going to pull something. But to me, this is the week to do a sneak onside, fake punt, and it'd have been a big game to get like a block punt, because to me, we are going to need something like that, especially early.
I mean, without a doubt, if we can steal a possession, you know what I mean, a little trickery there to kind of it's going to take some points, and we'll see how the defense holds up. But like you said, if we can go out there and play a little, let Bone Fossil kind of do what he does a little bit, and see what the special teams can do. If we could steal, like you said, if we could steal a possession with some trickery, convert that into some points. I mean, like, we're going to need it. We're going to need a situation like that to kind of, I think we can go blow for blow with them, but, you kind of take a little pressure off the defense, catch them by surprise, maybe take a little, they be on a low little bit now the season started. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I am wondering, do I think the Bucs are overlooking this? Not really. Truthfully, I don't. But is everybody hungry? Brady is.
I mean, Brady's built different. Like you said, I mean, there's no way to describe it. Tom Brady's built different. And to think that everybody on that team has the same mindset and the same hunger that he does, I mean, you can catch them slipping. There might be some guys on that team that, it's banner night. They got their rings. They're Super Bowl champions. They got it on their resume. Who knows where their motivation is? Who knows how they're feeling? We see it all the time. The teams that win it very rarely, if at all, go back to back. And everybody's got a target on their back when you win the Super Bowl. So, I mean, you're going to get everybody's best. And are they going to bring theirs? You just, we'll see what happens Thursday night.
Yeah, because If you look at a lot of that Bucs roster, most of them are losing. I mean, was used to losing other than last year, other than Pierre Paul who won two, who actually won the Super Bowl with the Giants. Everybody else was pretty much good players, but on bad teams.
Right. And I mean, until the, I might be in the minority in this thinking, but before the Buccaneers got hot at the end of the year and Tom Brady does what he does in the playoffs, I mean, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers were a beatable football team. I mean, last year, beginning at the season, were people talking about them the same way they're talking about them now? And I know Super Bowls fix everything. You know what I mean? Super Bowls put lipstick on pigs, but they were a beatable football team at the beginning of the year. And who's to say that, like you said, complacency, who knows? We'll see what kind of team Tampa Bay is and what kind of makeup they got on Thursday night.
Yeah, because even looking at the playoff stretch, none of them games you could really say Brady was great. He just knows how not to lose them. Because he probably averaged a little bit over, probably a little bit over 200 yards a game. And he was almost 2-1 in interception. So he didn't play particularly great, but Brady's not going to ever lose you a game.
No, he just goes out there. He's smart, right? He plays cerebrally. He's not going to make the big mistake. Even if he doesn't make the big play, he's going to keep you within arm's reach of a football game. That's kind of just been his recipe and his MO of all of his Super Bowls. He's had average performances in Super Bowls. He's had average performances in big games, but he leans on his strengths, and sometimes that strength is the defense. Sometimes that strength is the running game. Playoff Lenny. That he wasn't doing much at all until the playoffs, right? That's how you get a nickname like that. So Tom Brady, he doesn't care how it gets done. He's just out there winning Super Bowls. And, like you said, he's not out there highly impressive. I'm not as much worried about Tom Brady as I am the cast of weapons he has, right? Besides maybe Ben DiNucci, there's a lot of quarterbacks that can make some things happen with that wide receiving core.
Yep. And yeah, I'm looking at them. I don't look at them as this, oh my goodness, this is the greatest team we've ever seen. I'm like, nah. To me, defense is where they actually, to me, have the edge. But I don't even think player to player it is actually that big of a gap. We just played horrible last year.
Right. It's, you said it. Like, if things went the way, let's say Dak doesn't get hurt and you can play the what if game all you want. It was a solid football team. It was an elite football team offensively. Defensively, who knows? That could have been the Achilles heel, the demise of us, from the jump. But at the same time, you fix some things on the defensive side. You get Dan Quinn in there. I've said this on record before. I think as long as this defense is anywhere from 16 to 20 as far as defensive overall ranking, and the offense, I anticipate fully being a top 5 offense. We could bang it out with anybody with those statistics.
Yeah. Yep, that's exactly how I feel. I'm like, and I think the defense is going to be a lot better. Because if you look at it, other than last year, whatever kind of statistics you want to bring, they was pretty much a top 10 defense from 2016 to 2019. So I don't think they're just all of a sudden this horrific defense. It was just a horrible scheme. COVID didn't help.
Everybody dealt with, certain things, but it just felt like no matter what the situation was, the Cowboys were dealing with a little bit more. I remember week 1, we follow the team, we cover the team. It's, who Terrence Steele was, but when he got announced he was starting at right tackle, you're like, oh man, like right out the jump, right off the gate, we're like, we already playing with one hand behind our back. And I think he's going to develop, and I don't think he's the long-term, answer, but I think with the year being lost like it was, I think he took valuable reps. But I say that to say, There's just certain things and different things that they dealt with that you just can't foresee. And on top of everything else with the pandemic and the rookies not having a true off season, it was a tough year all around. And we don't, so we're going to end that and we're going to put that in the rear view Thursday night.
Yep. Because if you think about it, we pretty much played with a backup O-line all last year.
It's crazy. I mean, I'm sure you know who David Hellman is. He writes for the DallasCowboys.com, but he put up a stat that kind of blew my mind. They haven't had the starting 5 offensive line play together since Thanksgiving in 2019. That's crazy.
Wow. And it's probably another reason why I'm not that actually scared of Zach Martin being out, because all of them was out and Dak was pretty much putting up 500 yards with a mass unit O-line before he broke his ankle.
I mean, on top of that, we're going to have 4 of the 5 starting offensive linemen. And then you look at our best reserve is Conor McGovern, right? And other teams wanted him. People were gauging gauging interest on his availability. And now it's like, obviously there's going to be a play, decrease at right guard, right? Because Zach Martin's all pro, all star. You know what I mean?
All of Fame.
Right. I mean, the guy is the truth. So you're obviously going to take a step back there. But I think, there's people have respect. People appreciate Conor McGovern. And I think he's just kind of scratching the surface what he can do. So I think we could be in worse situations like we were in last year compared to what we're facing tomorrow night.
Yeah. So I'm going to get into our defensive keys. For me on defense, to me, our weakness, last year everything was a weakness. But everything was a weakness. But actually the biggest weakness was run defense. I don't look at Tampa Bay's offense as they're going to pound the ball 35 times. Can they? I don't really see Fournette or Ronald Jones pounding the ball 35 times. I don't. Now, will they try that early? But I am seeing Brady trying to throw the ball 45 times. Because if I'm saying Anthony Brown or Mike Evans, that is quite where I want to go. Right.
I mean, like you said, it's tough to analyze. As you analyze the defense, it's like which weakness is the biggest weakness is Tom Brady going to want to expose? And they tried to bolster up the front 7. Micah Parsons, Keanu Neal coming down playing linebacker for us, and I feel like they put Brent Urban being signed, so I feel like they put some more resources in the front 7. And you look at the cornerback position, and you're like, outside of Trayvon Diggs, where'd we get better? Trayvon Diggs is in the second year of his development, so you would think that there's going to be some type of leap or progression because he's been duking it out with Amari Cooper and CeeDee Lamb all off season. But if you're like you said, if you're Tom Brady, you're kind of licking your chops to kind of see what can Chris Godwin and Mike Evans do against this secondary, and that's kind of what makes me nervous, to be honest with you.
Honestly, I think Antonio Brown in the slot is probably where the balls are going to go, because Brady loves the slot receiver, and right. AB's his slot guy, so AB probably gets 10 receptions tomorrow.
What's he going to be working against? Jordan Lewis in the slot? Antonio Brown is, Antonio Brown's top tier. Besides the off-field stuff, when he's on the football field and he's focused, there's very few out there that do what he does. So Jordan Lewis, whoever the assignment is, they better strap it up, because it's like you said, they're going to get some work tomorrow night.
They definitely. And one thing I like that they did throughout the draft and actually free agency, we already know they actually wasn't going to do anything big, but I like the team got longer and faster. Oh, for sure. They had a plan and they stuck to it. They got size, length, athleticism, and that's the way of the NFL now, right? Especially later in the draft, you're drafting for traits. You're drafting for different things that you look for to fit into your scheme. And Dan Quinn definitely had a recipe that he was looking to a recipe he was looking to do and put together. And I think it was Dan Quinn's draft for sure. And to me, because I know a lot of people got mad at me about it. I would start Kelvin Joseph personally. To me, he's fast and actually he's gonna make some plays on the ball. Is he gonna get beat? Yes. Everybody. I mean, today's secondary, everybody gets beat.
I mean, at the end of the day, right? We look at Trayvon Diggs and we project out to what we think he can be and what he has the potential to be. He wasn't without his lumps last year. I mean, he was getting beat like a drum at some points, but he showed, resiliency. He came back and he just, he's got that competitive spirit. And you look at a guy like Kelvin Joseph, it's the other off the field stuff. And that's where you kind of separate the prospect from the player, right? And the prospect off the field is like that's what you got to put in together when you're looking at drafting people. But the player itself was a first round talent. So now you're looking at a guy who, could be one of the best corners in his draft class, and you forget about the draft positions. Like, is he healthy? And when he comes back off the short term IR, I mean, is he going to get plugged in? Is he got a chance that he can produce? I mean, there's no doubt that he's one of the talented corners on the team.
Yep, and to me, everything about him reminds me of Marcus Peters, but a lot faster. To me, I don't need a shutdown corner anymore. Give me a guy who's gonna give me three or four picks and pick six, because it is because in my opinion the rules don't allow really a shutdown corner. Because you actually can't get physical with corners. You actually got to let them catch the ball before you can hit them.
Right.
So
I'm the hardest position out there. I mean, besides quarterback play is the cornerback play. Like these defensive players are playing at a disadvantage. It's an offensive league. It's a point scoring league, and like you said, you can't hit them the right way. You can't beat them to the spot anymore. You can't, play with your hands. So like you said, the shutdown corner is got to be that's rare air right there, right? So you're looking for a guy who can play opportunist football, who's going to come up with that, tip drill interception, who's going to be able to have the athleticism to take that pick or that fumble to the house. So it's, like you said, you're looking for a guy who's going to be around the football more than anything.
Yep, and I am looking at the linebacker play. Because I think linebacker play for us is going to be huge. I mean, I am guessing Brady's going to pick on Micah a little bit, but I think Micah's good enough to cover from some mistakes. Because to me this year, you actually got a lot of funny how can I say, sort of, because there was no scouting combine, so all the pro days, you actually got those funny numbers. Like, wait a minute, he actually runs a 4.2? No,
right.
No, we can't. But Micah runs a legit 4.3.
I mean, he's been as advertised. I mean, there's no playing around. You see Micah Parsons look like he's in a different gear, even in those preseason games. Now you take the reins off him, you let him get going a little bit, and now he's gonna play a full game. Man, he go out there again, 40 snaps, maybe 50, whatever the case may be. He's gonna be out there flying around the football, and we'll see what happens. But I mean, the kid's got so much talent. I'm excited to see him play. And like you said, Tom Brady might try to make an example out of him, but he said it himself in the Hard Knocks. Like, he goes out there and plays well against Tom Brady. He knows he belongs. If he does and he gets exposed by Tom Brady, he knows he got to work on it to get where he's got to be. So he's got the mentality and the mindset you want out of a young rookie.
And that's what I like to tell everybody. Rookies are going to make mistakes.
Right.
You're going to give up touchdowns. You are going to blow some assignments. It is going to happen. Learn from it.
Right. That's all. I mean, like, if you think he's going to go out there and play some perfect football, like, it's delusional. You can't really expect that. I mean, what you can expect from Micah Parsons is 100 miles per hour. He's going to do everything wrong or right at a full speed, and he's going to take somebody's cap off. And that's just how he plays. And, and listen, that's, the scheme, the schematics, the X and O's is going to come, but you can't teach a kid to play with heart. You can't teach a kid to play 100 miles per hour like that. He's just got to have it in him.
And actually, this is a game I actually wish Gallimore was playing, because I don't think Gregory Owell's D-Law will have a big game coming off the edges because Brady's just going to, if the outside pass rusher is doing good, he's just going to throw it short all day. He isn't going to let that happen. We actually need that push up the middle. And I am hoping Osa and Brent Urban does that. Because if you can push him up the middle, you can stop a whole lot.
I mean, you got to get him off his spot, right? He doesn't like anything around his feet. You got to get around Tom Brady's feet, get him uncomfortable. He'll get the ball out quickly. And, just to forewarn people, the way Tom Brady plays, the sack numbers might not be there, right? He's not going to hold the ball any longer than he has to, but can you disrupt him? Can you get him off his reads? Can you make sure he gets the ball out, faster than he wants to? And that's where you're going to win this football game. Don't at the end of the day, if we win the football game, it may look like one sack, it may look like a couple pressures, but you're just looking for him to just disrupt his timing. You just want to get in Tom Brady's head a little bit, get around his feet. He doesn't like that at all.
Yeah, because you aren't going to have a 6-sack game versus Brady.
Nope.
That ain't just going to happen. It don't matter if he's 55. He will throw that dump to the running back or was a quick out to a slot receiver. You aren't going to just get him with outside pressure. If you can bring something up the gut, yeah, and you will disrupt a lot of things. And I am looking at Gronk is going to be the type I have 2-3 big catches. I don't look at him as the Gronk from 2014 who can take over a game and have 9 receptions for 200 yards.
And like you mentioned it earlier with Antonio Brown. I mean, you're looking at how many targets he's going to get in the inside, but there's only one football, and they got a lot of mouths to feed. So, between Ronald Jones and Fournette out of the backfield, they're going to get their touches, right? And then you look at, you got to get Mike Evans going. You got to get Chris Godwin the ball a little bit. And then by the time you look at it, it's like, what's Gronk going to get? 3-4 looks? It's like, you kind of just got to pick your battles and see who you want to get beat by or who you can contain. It's so, it might be a good thing that they got so many different weapons because, like, who's going to get in rhythm? Who are they going to get the ball to? And it's just, you kind of just see what happens, see how the game plan unfolds.
Yep. And actually watching the Bucs at the end of the year, if they get the ball before half, they are going to take that deep shot to Mike Evans. They literally did it every playoff game.
Right.
That last drive with 55 seconds left, and they damn near scored a TD every time.
I mean, you can't let your guard down, right? I mean, Tom Brady's going to push it. Tom Brady's going to put his foot on the gas. He doesn't need to worry about playing it safe and bringing it into the locker room. My man wants to. He's going to look. I got 1 timeout. I got 2 timeouts. Let's go make something happen. Let's get some points here. Let's go steal it. Let's go steal the drive. Because if they're going to get that ball at half or whatever the case may be, that's a stolen possession. That's points right there. That's the difference of a football game.
Yep, and actually more than likely they are going to defer. So odds are we're going to get the ball first.
Right.
So they're trying to get that score before the half and actually that score after the half.
Yeah, double dip.
Honestly, Tampa Bay running the ball really helps us more than anything. Because if they're throwing it and having success throwing the ball, we're in for a long night.
Right.
So
I mean, we're gonna see how they feel about the secondary, right? Like we have how we think and how we think the offense is gonna attack the defense as a whole and how we feel about the secondary. But we're gonna find out how Tampa Bay and that offensive staff thinks about the secondary. They come out there throwing the ball first down, second down, kind of just playing. I mean, who knows what the running backs get? And like you said, leaning on the run a little bit might help us a little bit because we bolstered the front seven a little bit more than I think the secondary has. So, we'll kind of see what they scheme up and how it looks. And, the game will dictate situations. So we'll kind of see how that goes.
I actually do like our safeties a whole lot better this year. I like Malik Hooker and Kazay with Donovan Wilson. Last year, it was just a clusterfuck of blown coverages from Darian Thompson to Xavier Woods. You almost was looking at if the team threw deep, All right, that's a touchdown.
I mean, I agree 100%. And when I say like the secondary's hurting, I'm speaking, specifically to the cornerback position, because I think eventually we're going to end up seeing some packages where it's Hooker and Kazee on the field at the same time. And now you got two guys who, ball hawk type safeties in there. And then, we have Wilson, they'll be able to bring down the box and hit a little bit. And there's just different. I think there's way more talent in the safety room compared to like the cornerback room. But yeah, like you said, if they can keep the top on the defense and make sure that they're not getting blown coverages, and I think Dan Quinn's scheme, and I think the way he's coaching it and the way that they're simplifying it, it's going to limit those big plays anyway. But as a whole, you got to think the defense is going to play better this year.
Yep, that is just me. I mean, you actually give help to the second corner, and leaving the nickel linebackers, you actually got Keanu Neal, Parsons, and Jabril Cox. I like that better than having Jalen Smith out there getting picked on.
100%. I mean, the linebacker room is with Keanu Neal being such a, I don't think it's as big as a surprise as people thought. Like, because I think Keanu Neal's a good football player, but he's came down, he adapted to the linebacker's position, and he's playing well. And everything here out of camp is that he was he came in there and he stepped right in. Then you look at Micah Parsons, and it's just on pure talent alone, you're looking at an upgrade at the position. So having those two out there in that nickel package type situation, you got some good football players, and you got two guys who are, chasing the football, who are going to be around it and can make some plays.
I'm like, because when you do that, you can sprinkle to what Jalen does best, going forward and rushing the passer. Right. I don't need him getting killed in misdirection, because if you do misdirection versus Jalen, you can do that up and down the field all game.
Right.
And I'm a guy who likes Jalen, but it is what it is. He looks worse.
I mean, it is what it is. Like you said, you got Dan Quinn in there, and you get the powers that be. You're going to try to put this personnel groupings in the best chance to win. Hopefully, like you said, his limitations, as a passing down linebacker, do you put him in a chance to rush rather than covering? We don't need to see Jalen Smith running downfield with tight ends no more. We got plenty of talent and plenty of other options at that position to kind of step in and make that play and make that adjustment for us. But, you think Dan Quinn can put him in a good position. They're saying all positive things, and you don't really expect them to say too many negative things about Jalen Smith. And, I want nothing more than Jalen Smith to go out there and ball. Because if he goes out there and balls and, he just shuts everybody up, I'm cool with that. Like, let's see it. But I want to see it before I hear it.
And that's not even talking about Van Der Esch, who everybody's saying having a great camp.
Right. Exactly. And you know what Van Der Esch looked like when he was hooping that first year, when there was an actual debate between him and Darius Leonard. You know what I mean? I think Darius Leonard is kind of, took off and he surpassed Leighton Van Der Esch. But at one point when he was the Pro Bowler, and then, Darius Leonard ended up being an All-Pro, like those two were, you're looking at the future of the linebacker room, and Leighton Van Der Esch obviously took a little step back, but the talent is there.
Yep. And him being basically in the prove me year, I actually think works out better for everybody.
Right. I mean, how it's as old as time. Everybody in that contract year finds a way to hoop. You know what I mean? Everybody in that contract year.
This is the best linebacker I've ever seen in my life.
Right. There's money on the line. There's paper on the table.
Okay, and we're going to talk about the juicy part of the side of the field, the offensive strategy.
Yes.
That's back. Pretty much the O-line's back. All the receivers are back. They actually just activated Noah Brown. I actually just seen. So you're going to have all your weapons, Blake Jarwin, Dalton Schultz. To me, tomorrow's about protection.
Right.
To me, it is the protection of the middle. And honestly, everybody's like, Sue's back, but Sue's been out for almost 2.5, 3 weeks with COVID. Do I expect him to look great like he did at actually the end of last year? No. I think Vita Vea is going to be a force, but he isn't a pass rusher.
Right. Right.
And I am comfortable with Tyron and Lyle Collins out there versus their edge rushers.
Mm.
I ain't
mean,
worried about anything up the middle.
right. I mean, it's just you're making a good point there, and I look at, think about going into week 1 of last year, right? Blake Jarwin gets hurt early, and then he's down, and you knew it looked bad because it was non-contact. This year, I think we're even better offensively because we know what Dalton Schultz is now. Week 1 of last year, we didn't know what he could do. We know that he's a capable tight end. Now we have 2 tight ends that we know that can, we can split the seam, get open down the middle of the field. Then you add CeeDee Lamb's development in there, a young, healthy, hungry, motivated Ezekiel Elliott with Tony Pollard, who seems to make it, blow the top of the defense up every time he touches the football. So Dak's back. Dak's healthy. There may be a slight bit of rust, it just comes natural. But when this offense gets clicking, we can bang it out with anybody. It doesn't matter who's on the other side. We can get it done.
Because you actually can't double anybody.
Nope.
What you going to do? Sell out stop the run? Okay.
Bet.
Please do that. You actually want to play nothing but coverage? We're running down your throat.
All day.
This offense to me is take whatever the defense gives you. If they want to sell out to stop the run, fine. We will pick you apart in the secondary. If you want to play coverage, we actually got the running backs to run it down your throat. To me, I would come out with tempo. I am not letting them substitute. Tempo. Keep them on the field.
Yeah.
That is going because, like I said, Pierre-Paul really never gave Tyron Smith any trouble. And if Lyle Collins is any resemblance of what he was, I don't mind him out there with Shaq Barrett.
Right. And I mean, just based off of, what we saw last year and Lyle Collins never even being out there. What's going on?
Hey, what's up, man?
So what's up?
What up, fellas?
So we were just we're just talking about the offense right now and how they're going to be dangerous Thursday night. That's all. And just saying, having Lyle Collins back, if he can give us a full game, just having him there instead of Terrence Steele. And, we're just talking about how the offense could be even scarier than we thought they were going to be last year, just based on development and what we know from Dalton Schultz and, CeeDee Lamb going into year 2. And we were just saying that, man, we could shoot it out with anybody.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of competition throughout the roster if you really think about it. Just look at every depth spot we talked about. I mean, I know everyone worries about the offensive line and the backups and stuff like that, but just consider these guys playing for something at the receiver spot. Like you got Cooper playing to stay on the roster with his contract. CD's trying to break out in his second year. And Lamb's playing for his money. Not Lamb, sorry, Gallup. He's playing for his money. Same thing with Dalton Schultz, too. So it's like there's a lot of competition. It's like we have not seen them actually scratch the surface just yet. Like it's a lot. And I know we hype it up. I do especially. I hype it up a lot. But they really could break through in a huge way. Like a huge way on offense.
I agree.
Yep, and like I was saying to Tony, going against the Bucs front, I am not scared of anything on the edges if Tyron and Lyle are right. With Zach Martin being out, up the middle scares me. But I am not expecting Sue to be in mid-season form because he was just activated off the COVID list, and Vita Vea isn't a pass rusher. Now, Zeke may have a hard time running the ball, but to me, I don't need Zeke to go for 200 yards tomorrow. Give him about a good 21 carries, and if he has 70, 80 yards, good, because we don't need to be one-dimensional. That is the one thing we can't be tomorrow, because if we're one-dimensional, I am not liking how that game's going to go.
Yeah, I mean, based on how you guys talked about it before, like it's really dependent upon Todd Bowles. Self-plug. I'm working on a video right now talking about like the matchups for tomorrow. But really with Todd Bowles is if you know what they do, they blitz. That's all they care about doing. So it kind of plays into your hands if you're Dak Prescott. It's like, okay, you want to blitz me? Fine, but I'm one of the best at pre-snap in the NFL. So you want to come blitz? It's perfectly fine. That means you have to isolate your corners that aren't very good. for everybody listening, like the Tampa corners are not top tier whatsoever. The secondary is not. For them to have to blitz Dak Prescott, that means one-on-one with star receivers are star receivers. So it's like, do it if you want, but we're going to kill you with it. So it's up to you.
Yeah,
I mentioned it. I mentioned in an article that I'm, selfish plug, but on bloggingtheboys.com, I did like an X Factor article that's coming out tomorrow. And I said, Sean Murphy bunting, right? Didn't matter if it's CeeDee Lamb. It doesn't matter who it is. We're going to be able to, I think there's a chance to expose the secondary. Like you said, if they want to bring some heat, they want to bring some pressure, Dak is going to identify it and be able to pick that apart pre-snap. And then as it goes, you know what I mean? We were talking about, you want to bring it down to the box, we'll make you pay for it. You want to play coverage, we'll let Zeke run it down your throat. So there's just a multitude of options, and you just see how Todd Bowles wants to play it. And, we'll be able to dictate how the game flow is based on that situation.
Definitely. Because I am looking at it like, I actually would put Mari in the slot mainly tomorrow. So what are you going to do? Are you going to put your best corner in the slot? Now you got to put your slot corner out there on the outside. We actually can have a lot of matchup personnels that I like, and they're starting strong safeties more than likely out. We actually can kill them at the seams because I like Devin White covering, but David isn't really a cover. I'm like this. You can kill them with the tight ends. Tony Pollard in the screen game. I would actually screen them to death. I would keep Vita Vea on the field and actually make him chase our running backs. Slow them down, then you can run the ball at him.
I also would say, like, you know what? If you want to run your hurry up offense and keep them on the field as much as possible.
That is one of the first things I said. Tempo.
Yeah.
Keep them on the field.
I mean, because you got these guys that want to play. Like, they have a large interior front. So if Sue does play, Vita Vea plays, okay, that's fine. It's 80 degrees down there in Tampa. You guys want to run in this nice, humid weather? All right, fine. Do your thing. But, yeah, I agree with you. I make them work. Make them earn every opportunity. Plus, when you get them tired, I can just hand off to Tony Pollard and make you chase me on the edge. Like, and now we can play whatever game you want. Like, I know I'm selling a lot of hype, but the Cowboys offense really has a lot at their disposal that people are really sleeping on if you're not paying attention close.
And the thing is, it is week 1. Everybody ain't used to playing the whole game yet. Make that defense earn it.
And the crazy thing is about the offense is if you kind of look at the way this offense is constructed, when the offensive line is healthy and you get the whole cast of wide receivers and Tony Pollard and Ezekiel Elliott, we can do this any way you want. You know what I mean? This offense can win in any different way. You want us to run the football, you want us to, pass and beat you down the middle with the tight ends, whatever the case may be. And whatever the defense dictates, I mean, Dak Prescott has the skill and has the weapons in it to go toe-to-toe in any style of football game they have here. It doesn't matter the weather, it doesn't matter the time of year. We can bang it out with anyone.
And I am hearing it's supposed to be a little rainy tomorrow. Which, honestly, Brady doesn't care about the weather because he played in New England for 20 years. But this is the type of game where I like Zeke versus Fournette and Ronald Jones.
Right.
I don't think these guys want to run into the new Zeke in a fourth quarter in a tight game.
And that's funny because Zeke is almost 2 halves to a whole compared to what they have. Like Zeke, for what he can do, I mean, Zeke isn't a bad pass catcher out the backfield. You can really keep Zeke in on all 3 downs if you choose to do it. With them is if they go Ronald Jones or they go Fournette, it's almost dictated that one of those guys lacks a deficiency that Zeke could actually make up for both ways. So it's like, okay, I mean, you want to pound it down the middle, that's fine. Try that. We have an improved interior D-line. So if you want to run with Fournette, try to pound and hit a big one, try it that way. Probably not going to work out. Want to do with Ronald Jones. We're fast and linebacker to chase sideline to sideline. It's like it does play into your favor if they choose to run the ball. They're not going to because they are so proficient in passing the ball. Like that's what they live and die off the pass. So that's not going to happen. But if you want to say, okay, it's raining, let's run it, fine. But you can't do it like we can do it. So It works both ways.
Exactly.
Well said. We talked about how before you got here, we were just saying every level of the defense, they got improvement, right? And just as just the law averages how bad the defense was last year, adding Dan Quinn to it, simplified system, playing with more of a purpose and playing with more effort, and just with overall skill is better too. I mean, the defense is going to be better, and how much better is going to dictate how far this team goes this year. But I mean, the defense is going to be improved.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's nowhere to go but up. Like,
Right.
And I say it across every show that I'm on. I talk to guys, Talking the Boys podcast, and just telling them, hey, look, man, it's to be as bad as you were last year is almost with intent. Like, to be that bad, meaning miss assignments, miss gaps, run a cover 3, but I'm gonna play man underneath for whatever reason and give up a touchdown. Like, all those things, man, are almost with intent. Like, you cannot be that bad without trying. So now you take out, Nolan's gone, the players are gone, Worley's gone, Everson Griffin is gone. All those guys that we scapegoated last year are now gone for the most part. So it means this guy Quinn, who preaches accountability, effort, hustle, he's not going to stand for it. You're not going to have Xavier Woods giving up an easy touchdown run and playing starting next week. It's over with. So it's not hype. It's not optimism. I'm just saying blindly. Like, really consider this team can bounce back. Look at 2014. They were the worst defense the year prior with like 15th ranked defense by cutting DeMarcus Ware and Jason Hatcher. Like, you wouldn't think that could happen, but it can happen. It's happened before.
And Sean Lee missed the whole season.
Did he?
Yep.
Oh, right. Because he got folded by Zach Martin
towards ACL and OTAs.
Right. So it's like, don't look for the names on paper and think they're going to come in and save you, because really it's about the coach, schematics, and really just playing as a unit. And this is what Dan Quinn's going to bring with them. So you have to be at least thinking that's probably an outside possibility. I'm saying that's probably going to happen, but at least an outside chance you should be thinking like that.
Right. Yeah. And to me, like I was saying to Tony, this is a much faster and longer team than it was last year on defense. Because if you looked at our defense last year, it was very slow. And everywhere is in because everywhere is in improved speed. At corner with Joseph, the linebackers, Cox and Parsons, and already like our edge rush with Randy Gregory and D. Law, but there was no push up the middle. So you basically negate that, because I could just quick throw it in. You ain't even worried about our outside edge rushers, but I like Brent Irvin. I like Bohanna. I like Osa. I like Gallimore. I pretty much like the whole makeup of the defense. Do I expect us to be the 2000 Ravens? No. Which is pretty much next to impossible in today's NFL anyway.
Right. And we kind of touched on it, kind of piggyback on it. Things that you can't just measure, right? Like, you look at Randy Gregory coming back, and hopefully this is his make or break year, right? So you're expecting Randy Gregory to come in motivated. You're looking at Leighton Vander Esch in a contract year, and everything here is that he's looking good. So, what kind of effort and kind of, play is he going to provide? You got Trayvon Diggs, who is coming into his second year, who is, has a ton of, people expecting big things from him in year 2. And then you just look into the safeties. Kazee coming up off of Achilles. You got Hooker coming off an Achilles. Those are talented players who are highly motivated to play well. So now you just talk about the things, the intangibles that you can't really, look at a statistic or a math and say, like, okay, we got some hungry, motivated, talented players all over this defense. I mean, could you say that last year? You really couldn't even say that last year.
Nah, man, they were complacent. To be honest, like, those guys were complacent and they felt comfortable. Everyone was chill. They're comfortable. And I know COVID affected that, because it's like, like, for example, we know what the rules for COVID was, where if we wanted to bring in a guy, the guy had to clear COVID protocols. It took a long process to bring a guy in. So, of course, it's like when you're in school, right? And the substitute has no power. The substitute has no bite to get you. You're going to act up because they can't do nothing to you. So that's like the mentality. But now you have this competition, you have this just like inherent hunger to do, like you said, this inherent hunger you can't quantify across the board. All of a sudden, it raises everyone else's level. Then you have Quinn, of course, to top it all off. Like, he's energy. Like, it just takes everything tenfold. I mean, people talk about the defense and Dan Quinn in Seattle, but just remember when they built that Seattle defense, they were built off of smart draft picks, sound free agents, sound veterans that kind of work well together. Then it became something organic. So you talked about, right? We talked about guys, Bohanna. Like you can build a good defense. Like this defense might not be great, but give them 2 to 3 years and see where they're at with these young players.
Yeah, it's exactly how I feel. Like this defense is probably going to peak next year in 2023. This year, as long as they're better than last year, we are a improved team. I mean, because like Tony was saying, we actually could play that what if, but if Dak plays 16 games, we actually run away with the division last year. We only lost it by 1 game without him.
Right. And you look at it, like we said, we don't even need the defense to be the 2000 Ravens, right? We just need the defense to be middle of the road, slightly worse than middle of the road, and we could compete with anybody. I mean, the way this offense can perform, if this defense can make a stop or 2 in a game, come up with a turnover, turn over the football, let us steal a possession. We could. There's gonna be games we're gonna run away with, and there's games that we could probably win that you probably had no business to, winning. So, just like the defense itself doesn't have to be great; they just have to be middle of the road.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree with that. I think, but it's all predicated on how the offense plays too, because it's with this team. And I know when I do my videos, I don't talk about special teams at all because that's not what people tune in for, and I understand it. But this team does play what you call complementary football. I mean, they really do in every single facet of the defense to the offense, the special teams unit. Like they all play together and they all serve a purpose. So if the defense can give them short fields, that's great. But if the punter, who I'm still pushing forward to with anger, if he can give them short fields, it helps out everybody. Like this roster really does benefit them in a division that doesn't have a quarterback opposite of Dak Prescott anywhere else, in my opinion. It's all right there for them this year. So, I mean, I'm with y'all. I'm buying all Kool-Aid up.
I definitely am. Do I think they're going to be this juggernaut Super Bowl team? No, but it isn't a game on our schedule I don't think we can win. Oh, are we going to win them all? No. We're going to lose plenty of games. But I am not scared to play KC. I am not scared to play the Bucs. To me, they're going to win one of the two. I don't know which one, but I actually think they're going to beat one of the two this year.
And you look at circumstances, right, and everything that comes around it. This could arguably, you can make a case that this might be the hardest game on the schedule. I mean, and it's week 1, and we're playing without Zach Martin. So, as the season develops and as the season goes, and you kind of just see the identity and how this football team goes. I mean, I know personally, like you said, they're not going to go undefeated, but I am not going to sit here and say they couldn't win any football game they step on the field.
If I can ask this question to you guys, right? Because I think I asked it last night on the pod, but what do you guys think this game actually does? Like, what does it actually mean? Win or lose, like, what does the game actually mean? Because I know people talk about winning the game, getting off the blocks quick and starting off fresh, but I mean, long term, because this is what I said to myself. You're not going to, that's outside of Kansas City, by the way, you're not going to see many teams that are going to be able to match up with you on offense with all these weapons at their disposal. They got 3 deep receivers, a tight end in Gronk, who's not what Gronk used to be, but still pretty good. Like, you're not going to see this until probably Kansas City anyway. So I'm just like, whether you win or lose, don't get too hype about it. Don't get too down about it. Like, I'm not putting all the eggs in this basket. It's a good barometer, but it is only week 1.
Yeah, to me, people are going to try to brush it off if I'm the Cowboys win. Oh, it's only week 1. You actually got lucky. No, but if the Bucs go out there and beat us 45-3, I told you. I told you y'all wasn't any good. No, I ain't gonna lie. If they go out there and lose 45-3 tomorrow, I'm gonna be like, woo, what the hell's going on? Like, what the hell? That is one thing I won't expect.
I honestly think that a win in this game tells a lot more about this team than a loss does. If they lose this football game, you can easily say, okay, Dak's coming back off injury. It's week 1. It's Tom Brady with 4 months to prepare. You know what I mean? Like, they got a hell of an offense that can rival ours. I don't think anybody's going to, hit the panic button after a loss. They win this football game and Dak looks good. And Zeke runs for 100, and we got some receivers, who are getting some balls, catching some passes, and the offense looks good. The defense makes some stops. I mean, you're talking about, the sky's the limit. And I'm not the type to say, oh my God, we won week 1, we're going undefeated. But, a game that nobody thinks we're going to win. I mean, you look at the national pundits, and who really cares, honestly, what they say. But at the end of the day, nobody's picking them to win. Nobody's picking them to win. They come
to get blown out.
Right. You go out and win this football game, it says a lot more about the team's chemistry, makeup, and everything involved in that team mentally than it would than a loss. Because, a loss, you go get it week 2, go see what we can do against the Chargers. We move on. A week 1, they might be carrying that swagger with them.
I think, man, because it's kind of funny, right? Because I think we had a game like this similar to when we played the Giants in 2012, right? They won the championship. We went in there. Ogletree just took the show, I think 2 touchdowns or 3 touchdowns. And it was supposed to catapult Dallas into a great season, which I think they went 8-8, I believe. So so it's kind of
they actually had the national on defense that year, where only Anthony Spencer and Brandon Carr played every game. Everybody else missed multiple games.
That's right. But like I said, I mean, it goes both ways, right? I mean, look, I'm going to be amped about it because if they go in there, they beat Tampa Bay. It's going to be like the scene at the end of Rocky 2 where he won and everybody went crazy. Like, he cued the music and everything. So it's possible. And it might, to me, to us as fans, like, we're going to, pound our chest and, be proud about it. But trying to keep it tempered here, it's just like you said, the loss doesn't do anything really. The win is big, says a lot. But, you still got a tough test after that with LA. So it's not going to just get easy all of a sudden.
Yeah, and because personally, I actually think they start slow in September, usually like they do, to everybody get some rhythm around October. So to me, a loss tomorrow isn't going to make me say, okay, season's over, it's time to start looking at draft prospects. Win ain't going to make me say, Super Bowl, here we come. I'm going to just take it as, I damn hope we win so I can troll a lot of people. But other than that, I just want to win on trolling purposes. But other than that, it ain't gonna make or break our season.
No, you take it with a grain of salt. But if you break it down, like you said, a win means a lot more in the essence of it, because nobody thinks that we're going to win, and you feel like you stole one from a game that nobody picks or nobody thinks we're going to win. Because the way we look at it, right, most of us, I think, would agree with, we want, that ball's going to kick off, we want them to win. At the end of the day, we'd be happy to see Dak Prescott come out there, look healthy, complete through a game. Lyle Collins can fight through the stinger. You just want to see some positives, right? Knowing that the season isn't going to end after week 1 if a loss. But you win that football game and they look like they're playing well, I'm going to be guzzling the Kool-Aid a little bit, you know what I mean? And then come back down to earth come Wednesday, Thursday, get ready for Los Angeles. But, it just, I think you put everything in perspective, but it would just be a much better situation than coming off a loss, which we already agree is not a huge deal in the grand scheme.
Yeah. Question though, right? Because I know we all made our picks for the season. What was the record that we all picked? I think I went 11-6 or 12-5. But what'd you guys go with?
I am about a 11-6, 12-5 guy.
Tony, the same.
I said
no.
You
went crazy.
I did. I bugged out.
Crazy.
I bugged out, and I said I'm gonna stand 10 toes on it. I said 13-4, and it just because I looked at the schedule, and like I said, I took the glasses off, and I'm like, am I really gonna sit here and think they can't win this football game? I know the ball is gonna bounce, sometimes not in their way, and sometimes it might. But who's to tell me this offense doesn't get grooving? This defense isn't 15th to 16th in the league. And then you tell me we can't bang it out and shoot it out in every single game. I said 13-4. I'm going to stand on that. If I'm wrong at the end of the year, kill me for it. I don't care, but that's what I'm saying.
It's all predictions. We don't know what's going to happen.
Right.
I just go knock on wood. We aren't going 0-17. We aren't going 17-0, and we aren't going 0-17. Knocking on wood.
But question though, right? With the way the schedule shakes out, we have Tampa Bay week 1. We have a 10-day break for LA. Then we get who?
The Eagles.
after another extra day because I'm on a Monday night, right?
Mm-hmm.
To be honest with you, if you could win this game, and I think week 4 is Denver, I think. So, Carolina.
Yeah.
That's
Then
after this game. So that's okay. That's Tampa. That's then LA and 2 teams who are in transition. You really can help yourself out a lot by winning this game, though.
I said it. I said even if you lose let's say we split 1 on the 2 between the Chargers and Tampa Bay, you can't sit and tell me that we can't go into the bye week 5-1. I mean, let's say we lose to Tampa, right? 0-1. You beat the Chargers 1-1. We can beat the Eagles, like you said, Carolina. Then we play the Giants and we play Mac Jones in New England, right? And now we're sitting here saying what, 4-2, 5-1. I mean, and then you go into bye week and you get a chance to rest up before we go bang it out on Sunday night against the Minnesota Vikings. And, and I love the way the schedule kind of sets up because now you got 3 months to know you're going to go against Tom Brady and the defending champions. But then you got 10 days to go and play against the Los Angeles Chargers. I mean, we don't see a traditional game week until week 3. I'm seeing that as an advantage.
And honestly, the Chargers game is a home game.
Right.
Really it is because their stadium in LA is going to be mostly Cowboys fans. It is about 15 Charger fans in LA.
Nah, I mean, this is the year I think we can't say that the schedule was tough to us. I don't think. I think this time we actually caught a break. Like we still have our Thanksgiving break like we always do. We have New Orleans, but that's on 1 week thing, and then another break after that. So I think it works out pretty well, and it's also given the fact that your opponents are not where they need to be either. We talk about the NFC South and stuff like that. So, nah, man. I mean, if you do want to win the game, this will be the one that you want to win, though.
I think December's our toughest month because it's all division games, and with division games, you just don't know how that's going to shake.
Right.
I think the only caveat there is, man, with these division games is that these teams don't have enough bullets in the chamber. They really don't. Like I said, if you don't have a quarterback, you really can't outgun me. You can talk about Washington all you want as far as the defensive line, and that's cool and all. That's fine. But if you make a mistake on special teams and we score, can you get us back? Can you get us back with Ryan Fitzpatrick? Can Ryan Fitzpatrick go drive after drive after drive without making a turnover? Don't see it happening. Right. Same thing with Jalen Hurts. Same thing, especially with Daniel Jones. So I think really it's almost like your division games is your kind of your favorable games anyway, because they can know what you do well, but they can't stop you. They're not built or equipped to outscore you. So
if the Giants had a capable quarterback, I would be dead scared of them.
Oh yeah, for sure. But it seems like with him, they're not even in love with that guy anyway. So I actually had a Giants fan come on my pod, Mikey Canavo on Twitter at Mikey Canavo, and we talked about it. He's already done with them. He's done with Daniel Jones. He's like, he doesn't see it as a salvageable situation. Like this guy's ceiling is, in his own words, he said his ceiling is Teddy Bridgewater. That's terrible. Like that's not something you invest in. So it's like the Cowboys have this thing set up really well in their favor to do something big with it. They just have to just not mess it up, man. It's like
right.
I can't put any other words.
Get that injury. I'm like, there's no way we can get the injury bug like we did last year, 2 years in a row.
Yeah. I mean, even with the one of the league's worst defenses of all time, not playing with the quarterback, didn't have the starting 5 offensive linemen the whole season, we were still in shooting range going into the last month of the year to win the division. I mean, and you're talking about with every chip falling against us, last year. I mean, there's no reason why this division isn't the standard or the expectation. You know what I mean? You would think that's the jump off point, and that's where you start. Let's win this division, and then we'll start knocking down what else we're looking to do. And not to look past anybody, but with this talent and this team and what's around us, that's what the standard should be.
Yeah, because Dak is 3 times better than any quarterback in this division. Somebody pulls a miraculous trade for Deshaun Watson,
who won't even play probably. So that's, I mean, I think when it comes to all this stuff, man, just with the team, I would say this though. I think last year is a huge referendum on what McCarthy could be. I know because people they kind of drag McCarthy, they're down on him for certain choices here and there, but to keep that all together, to be within one game of division title, that's a plus on him because guess what? When Romo wasn't around for Garrett, guess what happened? And it wasn't even competitive. Those games were not competitive whatsoever. Let's just keep it a buck. They were not competitive. So if this guy is at full strength with his roster, look, you're not sure about what I'm saying, man. I don't know if I'm losing you a little bit.
Actually, in 2015, they actually were competitive in most of those games. If you go back and look,
the Green Bay,
they actually played hard. Let me say they played hard anyway because the Giants game was a kickoff return that lost in the game. They actually lost in overtime versus the Eagles. They actually lost by 1 score versus Seattle. They actually lost in overtime versus the Saints. They actually lost a lot of close games. And
I know. Abstain. He caught me slipping. Abstain. Withdraw. But I do think, like I said, just the way they play, because I think we talked about this, like as far as how they're going to play the games, whether they lose close or I think with them is they've shown us already, like, we are going for the throat every week, like we're not playing. And I think it was either I think it might have been Shelton that said it last year. When you play that fast and freestyle, you're going to either win by a lot or lose by a lot, and there's no in between. Mm-hmm. And guess what? I don't care. You paid your guy $40 million. Let him be Kurt Warner in this offense. Like I do not care. Let him go off. Let him go crazy. It is what
I actually think Mike learned even last year with a tough year for Zeke. They actually went pass way too much. And actually, once they got down, everything was predictable. I think I actually want Zeke involved more early than actually late.
I want Zeke more involved in the passing game, if anything else, man. And it's not because I have a preference for numbers and stuff like that. It's just it has the same efficiency, right? Like we hand the ball off to Zeke for 4 yards. It's not any different from him getting a 4-yard check down. Like it's the exact same thing. Like if we continue to put pressure on defenses, and I think I told this to Adam last night. I said this narrative, like we talked about narratives before with Dak Prescott and the Cowboys. The narrative with the Cowboys will finally die once people learn how to fear/respect the Cowboys. And if that means I can hang 40 on you in a given night or 450 and ain't nothing you can do about it, the narrative, it changes. Because if we still feed into the, hand it off to Zeke, that's us playing like, let's just keep it close. Let's just try to like grind you down to win the game. You have to take teams like by the throat. And it's like, I got 3 horses on the outside. I got to go like this because this is what we build ourselves around with. Like, I understand where it's convenient and how you can adapt it to week, but your bread and butter got to be the quarterback and the weapons you got on the outside. That's just me, though. That's how I see it.
I mean, I think the head coach kind of feels the way you feel. I mean, he's always been a guy that, valued the pass, and he's always kind of valued that style of football, but you got to have the weapons to do it. And you can clearly see in Dallas that they have the horses, like you said. I'm a proponent of playing kind of to the hand. What does the defense give you? And you can only do that to say if you have the talent to do it. I mean, if you have Ezekiel Elliott and they want to force you to run the ball, go ahead, Zeke, have a day. You know what I mean? And for me, it's you can have an identity, but they have, the personnel to match whatever is being thrown at them. So whatever that takes, whatever that may be, you can come in to say, like, this is what we plan to do, and then come in and make an adjustment and switch. And if you don't got talent, you can't make that switch so seamlessly like this team can.
Because actually, who do we think has the best secondary in the NFL? Just a mild question.
We got to think about Baltimore.
Yeah.
Baltimore. And our receivers was carving them up, but Dalton just stunk.
Couldn't hit him.
Dalton just stunk that game. Because Mari was killing them. So was CeeDee Lamb, man. And actually, CeeDee Lamb had some drops that game. Baltimore with the best secondary. And we pretty much did what we wanted to on offense, but the quarterback just stunk. Other than that, I'm like, maybe the Rams have the next best secondary.
I don't know who the other guy is opposite of Ramsey, so I couldn't even tell you. I don't know who that guy is.
Buffalo.
Poyer, Tre'Davious White, and who am I missing on the other side? Some veteran. I mean, I don't. You know what? The thing that kind of just drives me insane is that I think Zeke for years has been trying to almost beg Garrett to turn him into Marshall Faulk, and they would never do it. And that's why I'm kind of upset. Like, yo, if you watch Zeke at Ohio State, the way he actually played, he did everything you asked him to do in the backfield as a pass catcher. I know Tyler Moore is listening here, so chime in if I'm telling a lie here. But he has the ability to play in so many different variety of ways, and it was never used that way. So I'm just like, man, if he can be a 3-down back, he does everything. Yo, use him more in the passing game. I think Zeke had a highlight where he won a game back in 2018 where he ran a wheel route for a long play set up a game-winning field goal. Like, it's like, use him more. Like, find different ways. You want to keep teams off balance? Diversify your running back. Like, use them in a different way. Like, let's do something different with that. So that's where I'm at with that, man. I just feel like they could be multiple, but you show multiplicity by how you want to incorporate your running back and tight ends, but especially the running back you're paying $90 million to. Look at him.
I think they can do anything versus anybody. If they want to play 12 personnel, they can. You want to run out there 4 deep at receiver, you can. And actually, honestly, with the Bucs, I would spread them out. I'm like, okay, we're gonna run 4 or 5 deep at receiver. So now you're gonna have to show me how you bring in your pass rush. It ain't no more disguising. You are gonna have to match us up.
Who
do
can
you
do
still
that?
do that against Terrence Steele though? Do you still do that if Terrence Steele is playing single? Because that means if you go 5, so let's say you go empty 5 wide, it's Dak and the 5 linemen, which means your linemen are 1-on-1 potentially. Do you run that 5 wide with Terrence Steele?
We actually watched them do it last year, so I mean it'll be ugly. It'll be ugly. Like, oh God, please.
I mean, but you know what though? For as much as we drag Terrence Steele though, I think he has improved a little bit. I think he's gotten a little bit better. He just doesn't have universal confidence by anybody.
he's not
loud confidence. Yeah, you know.
Right.
I mean,
and Hellman and them guys in the break, he said, Leo, anticipate Steele being around. He says his staff likes him and they see a future with him. So even if we don't like him, we better get used to him.
Yeah, I am not the guy who is going to cry about roster moves. Because personally, I can't stand DiNucci, but he's still on the team, so I'm not.
There's nothing personal.
Yeah,
nothing personal, you know.
Like, oh well, what can I do?
No, I mean, you look at it is though.
Yeah, it's not personal, and you just look at it in the way he played. Like, I'm sure y'all caught the Hard Knocks. It's like I was so surprised to see Mike McCarthy banging on the table for DiNucci like that. Like, you're telling me you said there's nothing on the street that could give you that? Will give you 3 picks and a half in a third, fourth preseason game. I can do that.
Me too.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I need somebody. I tweeted it out. I said, I wish somebody loved me the way Mike McCarthy loved DiNucci. Man, I'd be a happy man.
Nah, but you know what?
I can go there and give you 3 picks. Trust me.
Yo, but you know what though? It was funny because like we watched Hard Knocks. We also watched the games, right? I know we saw every preseason game. So whenever he would mess up, and Mike would talk to him, Mike would actually leave the sideline, go all the way to the bench, and sit next to him side by side. And the way I saw it was like, okay, this dude absolutely is done with this guy. I'm finished with them, whatever. Turns out, it just seems like, yo, I have a lot of confidence in you. How can I help you? What can I do for you? It's very close. Like, they probably real close that we don't even know about it, honestly. And that's why he kept him around. And that there has to be something there. But I was told this is the same player at JMU too, so I don't quite get it. But
right, he's like, it feels like he's invested in him. I mean, it's and obviously he's invested in him, but like a little too much, right, for a 7th round draft pick to a guy who hasn't really. Are you saying he developed cerebrally because he's not making the right decisions out there? And you hear how he interacts, like with the Hard Knocks gave us an opportunity to kind of hear what he says mid play, like. Even when he threw that pick over the middle and he's like, oh, did he drop it? It's like, nah, bro, you sailed it. You know what I mean? Like, you're not even in the right mind state. You don't even know when you're making mistakes. You just think that, like, and I guess it's cool to have that confidence, but like, where's the skill to back it up?
I
it's
mean,
weird because I think,
because he was honestly worse in the preseason than he was versus the Eagles last year.
Right. They
Which
would
is
let him throw a forward pass.
well, you know what though? See, that was what they gave him a week's time with every single snap. So,
Right.
and if you look at that game, they tried so hard to make it easy. They had the trick play set up, they had the easy read set up, and he was still trash. I'm sorry, like he was still bad. So it's like, what do I have to do with you? But then I think about McCarthy in Green Bay. He wanted to save every 7th-round pick he had. Like he was trying to save Brian Brown and Matt Flynn, try to make them into something. So maybe that's just who he is. He's like, I need a quarterback to work with,
Oh man! And when he said there's no quarterbacks out here that are like Danucci, I'm wondering if he means like COVID wise. Like, is it going to take too long to get him in? He knows the system, because you could find that anywhere.
Maybe it's physicals, man. Maybe like we smashed Danucci a lot for how he plays, but physically the guy has physical traits that you really, if you want to mine those traits, like you want to put time into this guy's arm, his legs. Yeah, I can see it. Okay, I understand. And he might develop into a backup, not in Dallas, but somewhere else. You never know.
Right.
But yeah, I mean,
you're doing somebody else's dirty work.
Man, look, I don't. And Ben might be a great guy in the locker room. I don't get it. But if your whole franchise depends on if this guy gets hurt, then that guy gets hurt, then it's him. Why am I keeping that around? It's kind of
exactly, because if Ben DiNucci is playing double-digit games, I'm like, with the first pick in the 2022 draft, the Dallas Cowboys select.
Right, like if literally anybody else is playing in that Philly game last year, we come out with a W.
Anybody,
so. Yeah, not to hate on the man, but
and the bad part, he actually played better than Wentz.
Yeah.
I'm not saying something. He played better than Wentz.
Oh man.
Okay, guys. So, what is y'all prediction for tomorrow's school?
Tony, go ahead, man.
All right, so I locked this in. And I feel like I'm on an island, but I said 27-24 Dallas. I feel like Dax will come out a little rusty. I feel like he's going to, it's going to take him a drive, a series, maybe a quarter, whatever it takes to kind of knock the rest off and say, I can still do this. Let him get hit a couple times. I think the defense will, kind of keep us in it long enough that, bend but don't break type defense. And I think long enough where Zerline goes and bangs one in for us to take a 27-24 win in Tampa Bay. And now we sitting there drinking gallons of Kool-Aid on Friday.
All that hypertension turned up. But yeah, actually not far off, man. I had 28-24 Dallas too, so pretty close on. I do not believe in rust from Dak Prescott whatsoever. If we know Dak Prescott as he's presented to us as a hard worker, a guy who cannot get pulled off the field enough and just wants to be out there, he's been working and grinding. I can't remember who told me this though. I think it was either Tad told me on the podcast. I can't remember, but he was saying how much Brady was a real model to Dak as a quarterback when they were younger. I think it was Tad. So if you listen to Tad, shout out to you, man, for saying that. But I think for him, it's extra motivation to come back, because I think they're going to show the rings off too. I think that same night. So to see it, like he's going to see the rings, he's going to see Tom Brady, he's going to see when it looks like, and I'm back. Like I think he's going to have a little extra juice and something special. I think 20-24 they win. That goes for 350, maybe 3 touchdowns. And hey, my fantasy team needs that, so please.
Same. Hell yeah.
To me, this actually was a game I originally picked us to lose. It was. Then it's probably the last week with everybody. The Cowboys are going to get blown out, which puts me to when everybody really picks you to get killed is when you win. And I'm going to pick us to win on a 24-21 Greg Zerline kick, because I like our kicker better than theirs.
Yeah.
I like our punter better than theirs. And we actually really didn't talk about that in the special teams. But it is just one of those games I feel like it is probably going to look dull early. long as the game's close at halftime, I actually believe we'll win. Now we actually can't get down 17-3 early, then it's going to be a recipe for disaster. But I don't. I don't think Tampa Bay is going to be this well-oiled machine and just going to pick up where they left off last year. I think they are still going to show the game on week one rest, and I think we're going to beat them.
Agree, man.
Yeah, I think so too. I think it's actually going to start slow. I think it'll be a flurry late in the game. Like halftime, it'll be kind of slow a little bit. We'll kind of be unsure of ourselves, and all of a sudden, it's going to be everybody going back and forth trading shots late. Like that's how I see it.
It's going to be one of those 10-7 scores at halftime. Then after that, okay, this is what we came to see.
Typically, these first games, Thursday night games, always kind of start slow a little bit. You know what I mean? There's always some, build-up factor into these games anyway.
Yep, and Knicks has it 27-21.
We all in the same ballpark.
Mari has it 31-27. Hey, I just maybe
win.
We're completely wrong and they run our ass off the field tomorrow, but
I'll take a 2-0 win. I don't care, man. Give me a W.
Me too. 3-2. I'm fine with it. But yeah, I don't think the talent gap's that wide between the two teams. That is just me. Maybe I'm a fan, but I'm looking at it like, okay, no. I think Paul's a better D lineman right now than Pierre Paul, personally.
Yeah, and we can say that Shaq Barrett's more ahead of Randy Gregory because he's done it, he's produced it. So it's like when you start doing like picking these teams apart, like left and right, like really going through every spot, every position, it's going to be a lot of give and take. Especially like you said, the punters and kickers too. Like it's a lot of give and take. So I think it's a tight matchup, and we should feel good depending on how the thing plays out. Either way,
no doubt.
Man, it actually was a great show with you guys tonight. I don't know if anybody's going to be able to come on after the game. I might come on real quick, talk about what we've seen for probably 10, 15 minutes. So if you guys can come on after the game, that'd be great.
Let me know, Ellen. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
man. Yep. Thank you for having me, man. My bad for coming in late. My bad got tied up, but thanks for having me.
It's okay. Yep, that is life, and let's start off 1-0 tomorrow.
1-0, man. That's it. All right, man. Appreciate y'all.
Yep.
All right, y'all. Thanks.
Peace.
Yep. Whew. Mm.